Welcome to the Know, I'm Ashley. Happy Friday! Red Dead Redemption 2 was originally supposed to come out this fall. You might have forgotten about that, understandably, considering we have been like knee-deep in all the season's releases, and a lot of them are so good. And while the game itself may not be coming until next year, we can at least get the next best thing, right? A new trailer. Maybe? Well, that seems to be what Rockstar is teasing on their Twitter account this morning with a Red Dead themed image pointing to, mark this on your calendars, 11 a.m. Eastern Time next week on Thursday, September 28th. So get ready for that. Considering it's been a whole year since we got the first teaser for the game, and we've only been treated to a handful of screenshots since then when they announced that they were delaying it, you can say some of us pretty excited to see what Rockstar has been keeping under wraps. The first game was so good. I don't know about you, I have very high hopes for the second one. If you don't think Nintendo made enough Nintendo Switches, well, Nintendo thinks you're wrong. According to Nintendo of America President Reggie Fils-Aimé, the company over-delivered on everyone's favorite new portable console. Reggie made these comments on an interview with Mashable, talking about how analysts predicted around 2 million in sales. We actually sold through almost 2.8 million units, so we dramatically over-delivered, and yet demand outpaces supply. So what do some consumers on Reddit say? Gosh, Nintendo, if you would have made more, you would have sold more. Well, we did make more, and certainly we're on a pace to supply in the current fiscal year 10 million units. So, couple things to learn there. One, Nintendo totally made enough Switches, more than enough, you just wanted too many. And two, Reggie browses Reddit. Speaking of Switch, we already know that Nintendo's first-party titles are selling very well on the system, but one of the big tests of its longevity will be how third-party titles do, because if third-party titles can sell on the system, then third-party publishers support it, and then we get more games, and the circle of life continues. Now we've got our first indications about how that's going thanks to the MPD and GFK Chart Track releasing some information about Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle. According to the two groups, the physical sales of Mario plus Rabbids in the UK and North America make it the best-selling non-Nintendo game yet. Well, non-Nintendo. Not first-party Nintendo. It is still using Mario, obviously, which I'm sure helped it out, but it is a Ubisoft title. And that's still huge news for both Ubisoft and Nintendo. Will hopefully lay the foundation for many big ports and exclusive third-party titles down the line. And let's be honest, more Mario Rabbids, because it's a good game. Fans of Life is Strange have been looking forward to Vampyr, the next game from French developer Dontnod, but unfortunately, it's now being delayed to spring 2018. The company announced the delay of the supernatural vampire RPG this week, chalking it up to a technical issue that would affect its release. Studio boss Oscar Guibert said, "We believe that meeting a deadline should never compromise quality. We were still convinced just a few weeks ago that we would be able to release Vampyr this year. Unfortunately, a technical issue, now solved, has set our team's schedule back at the end of development." He went on to say that this will give them the time they need for polish and balancing, and frankly, given the lineup of amazing games we have this year, maybe that'll take just a tiny bit of pressure off and we'll enjoy it in the spring, along with Red Dead Redemption 2. The yearly installment of FIFA is out as of today, and the reviews are hitting right alongside it. FIFA 18 is kicking off to an 84 on Metacritic and 85 on OpenCritic, which should be welcome news to longtime series fans. The consensus among critics is that FIFA 18 keeps the things that work about the series, adds some subtle improvements to the gameplay and balance. However, reviewers also agree that the career mode needs some work. US Gamer said in its 4 out of 5 review, "The action on the field is a bit more nuanced, the presentation has been spruced up, and there's a new chapter of the journey to digest. But at its heart, FIFA 18 is much the same as it's always been, the sort of fast and frantic soccer game you play on the couch with your friends, and that makes it plenty fun." If you're a PC gamer looking for something new to play this weekend that's not Divinity Original Sin 2, Heat Signature seems to be the new talk of the master race. The game from the maker of Gunpoint is described as, and this sounds amazing, get ready for it, ready? Hotline Miami meets FTL. In Heat Signature, you break into spaceships, decimate crews in slow-mo gunfights, lay traps, and figure out how to escape impossible situations. If all that sounds pretty fun, players would agree with you. It's off to a very positive rating on Steam so far, with hundreds of raving reviews, at least at the time of writing. Also, it's only 13 bucks, and the best part is having it described as the AI is playing FTL, you're playing Hotline Miami. Sounds great. It looks like we can expect more multiplayer games from Square Enix in the future. No surprise there, I guess. In a letter to shareholders, President Yosuke Matsuda said that games as a service will be the company's model going forward. He wrote, "Gone are the days in which single-player games were of primary status and multiplayer games secondary. Lately, multiplayer games have taken the lead, and it is standard for games to be designed for long-term play." No secret that multiplayer games can make a lot of money. Just look at the popularity of PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, and Square Enix is adding a ton of functionality to the existing games they've got. I mean, Final Fantasy 15 is getting multiplayer in an upcoming expansion. Meanwhile, Matsuda also told shareholders that the company will be paying more attention to streaming in the future. He said, "Watching the advanced techniques of professional gamers and the unique broadcasts of game streamers is another way to enjoy games. We also have a great deal of interest in this field and intend to proactively work to turn it into an actual business." Interesting. 4 classic Halo games are now playable on Xbox One, and it doesn't involve the Master Chief Collection, thanks to the magic of backwards compatibility. They include Halo Combat Evolved Anniversary, Halo 3, Halo 3 ODST, and Halo 4. This means that all Halo games on the Xbox 360 are now playable on Xbox One, which has amassed a pretty impressive library of backwards compatible games up to this point. It's now got more than 400 Xbox 360 games, which is cool, especially if you missed out on some of them the first time around. For example, I had missed out on Catherine, so I first played Catherine on the Xbox One, not on Xbox 360, and that game is super weird, but fun. And as of this month, it's actually the 10-year anniversary of Halo 3, which released on, get this, September 25th, 2007. Man, I feel like even older than I am. That's a long time ago. Speaking of Xbox, remember the Duke? Remember? If you want to feel even older, the giant-sized controller for the original system? Well, love it or hate it, it's part of video game history, and now it's back. Seamus Blackley, one of the designers of the original Xbox, has recreated the gargantuan controller working with peripherals manufacturer Hyperkin. In a recent tweet, he showed off the recreated Duke, saying, "It has gone to tooling and is approved by Xbox. This is happening." Now, if you don't know what tooling is, that's the process where the plastic molds of the controller will be created. Oh, and a new controller also has a 9-foot breakaway cord and a display screen. Don't know how much it's gonna cost yet, but hey, cheers to Blackley for making this happen. Those of us with giant hands, salute you. I'm not one of them, but Adam Ellis salutes you. Star Wars fans remember the Kessel Run as the famous smuggler route that the Millennium Falcon completed in less than 12 parsecs, which according to Han Solo, was really fast. But could we finally get to see this legendary feat in the new Han Solo standalone movie? That would be cool, right? Director Ron Howard tweeted a photo from, we assume, the set of the upcoming movie with the caption, "Spicy?" which lots of people took to mean that he was showing a shot of the spice mines of Kessel. So maybe we'll finally get to see what Harrison Ford was talking about way back in the very first Star Wars. The movie is gonna hit theaters on May 25th next year. Sounds like that's far away, but it's gonna come sooner than you think. Word of advice, if you're making a kids show, don't put dirty drawings in it. It's not cool and you'll get busted and then it sucks. Netflix has pulled an episode of Maya the Bee after a mom spotted what looks like a drawing of a dick in one scene. You can see it for yourself. Yeah? That looks pretty intentional. And come on, it's a kids show, not a bathroom wall. The mom wrote on Facebook, "I'm extremely disgusted by it. There should be no reason my kids have to see something like this." Netflix hasn't commented. It's unlikely the kids would have known what that was until the mom freaked out. They're gonna Google it and they're gonna know now. But regardless, it sounds like someone's gonna be in pretty hot water over this. Remember there was that whole big thing, it was the Little Mermaid. It got accused of having a bunch of dicks in the spires for the castle, I think. Oh well, childhood. I spent a lot of time looking for those dicks. Did the European Commission bury a report that said piracy? Not all that bad. That's what some are alleging after the commission paid a Dutch consultant to research how piracy of music, video, books, and video games affected sales. The report was finished in 2015 and concluded, in general, the results do not show robust statistical evidence of displacement of sales by online copyright infringements. The report found that piracy can actually increase legal sales of games, but it also concluded that piracy negatively affected blockbuster movies. Interestingly, the report was never published, and the only reason we know about it is because it was posted by Julia Reda, a European Parliament member who represents the German Pirate Party. Of course, some groups like the European Digital Rights Organization have suggested the report was intentionally suppressed, and given its findings, I can see how the commission might have been pressured to keep it under wraps. Still, kudos to everyone involved who helped it finally see the light of day. Alright, that's the last of the news for this roundup and for, well, the rest of this week since it's Friday. What do you think of all these stories? Let us know in the comments. To make sure you get news from every corner of the internet every single weekday, make sure you like this video. If you're new here, subscribe to the know, and hey, have a good weekend. Play some Heat Signature or some Divinity. We'll all have a good time. Oh, hey, and instead of your friendly neighborhood outtakes that we normally do, we just found out that Nintendo just barely added two-factor authentication to their accounts. So considering how much everyone is getting hacked lately, maybe considering adding two-factor authentication to your account for Nintendo is a really good thing. Because that way, well, no one else is buying games on your stuff.